Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to SeahawkTalk here on the South Bay Athletics Network. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. Thanks for finding us here today. We're live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Periscope. Through Twitter, we have a great show for you here today. We have special guest Rob McGuinness, a field hockey alumnus, Helen Bohnenberger Price, the captains of our women's soccer team, Molly Breslin and Devyn DeFalco. Molly Leary couldn't be with us, but she too is a captain, and we hope to speak with her soon. And then rounding out the program, as always, here on a Wednesday, Craig O'Rourke II. So we have a great show lined up for you here today. But first, we want to remind you to keep your distance. That's Ed Habershaw with Keep Your Distance from the Shake, Rhode Island-based band. I'd like to bring into the show now our producers, Mike DeFusco and Joey Morelli. Fellas, how are we doing here this afternoon?
Good, Mike. You're muted, but...
I'm doing well, thanks. Sorry about that.
It's all good, all good. I want to bring up two things NFL related. First one, a serious one. Second one, a funny one. We learned today the passing of Gale Sayers. Really unfortunate. All-time great Bears running back. I feel like, our generation, we only see like grainy film footage of these guys. But one of the all-time greats in the NFL, and really unfortunate to hear about his passing. Only in his 70s, which feels so young nowadays, but a tough loss for the NFL. As younger guys, have you ever seen Gale Sayers footage? Do you even know who Gale Sayers is? Just
I know.
To be honest, no.
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 Well, you got to look him up. He's one of those guys, I describe it as just smooth. His running style, like effortless. You watch him make, some guys, you see guys like put their foot in the ground and then stop and start and accelerate or run over people. He would make just like, it just felt fluid, just seamless cuts. And it's like he was psychic and knew what the guy in front of him was going to do. And all I have to do is just subtly turn this way. And now that guy's going to miss me. And then I'll just subtly turn this way and that guy will miss. Well worth looking him up. Anyone who doesn't know, go look up Gale Sayers.
Yeah, I recognize the name, but I don't know that I've ever seen him. Like, I'm sure he's one that my dad's probably told me about.
Yep. So unfortunate to hear of his passing. But now to the funny bit about the NFL. Joey, if you want to go ahead and pull up this image that I had ready. That is, believe it or not, that is a future Hall of Fame NFL coach. That is a multiple Super Bowl winning coach. That is a multi-millionaire that you are looking at on screen. That is Bill Belichick. If you did not know that was Bill Belichick, what would you think that guy was doing the night before? I say scrounging for change, maybe sleeping under a park bench, trying to, maybe beg on the street for a Subway sandwich. Kind of unbelievable. Only Belichick, I think, could get away with doing that.
Yeah. I made the joke earlier. Like, he looks like the type of guy who's like standing outside the stadium. Like, if the Patriots don't win the Super Bowl this year, then the world will implode. Like, it's like doomsayer guy.
He looks like the Pats fans like walking home from the bar after that game, not the guy who coached the team itself, Yep.
Yeah. Or I wonder if he didn't know that he had a press conference this morning and he was out doing yard work, and then they just like called him in like, "Oh, Bill, yeah, you gotta," because this was on like if it's maybe tough to tell on this, but he's like green screen. So the video is him and then like that background is like superimposed. So this could just be from like his garage. He could be anywhere.
Needed a shirt and just like picked up the closest shirt to him.
Yeah, it was definitely.
He was wearing something like he wasn't allowed to have, like something like it said something like copyright or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, I need a shirt," and then he just put something on, and it's Bill Belichick, so he doesn't care.
Yep.
If he could go on without a shirt, he probably would.
I don't know about that. Maybe.
No one wants to see
Maybe.
that.
I don't think anybody. I don't even think Bill wants to see that. So this was just a funny, little comic relief there. I think when you win 6 Super Bowls, you can get away with showing up to a media press conference looking like that. But
exactly.
Yeah, little funny thing this morning. Anything from you guys here to lead up the show?
Yeah, I'll mention here. I'll even just share the screen just because it'll be easier. Rolling Stones released their new 500 top 500 albums of all time, and I think a lot of people are complaining about it, and I think I agree with most people, is that it's very just classic rock heavy. It's like best classic rock and some other people. And I think like you have to think of this as like, it's not the best albums ever. It's like the best albums as compared to classic rock, because like even at 50, we have a Jay-Z album. A lot of them are like Ramones, like just classic rock you'd recognize. And I just want to point out some like bigger ones that I think are interesting that are on here. We got like Prince, Sign of the Times, Illmatic from Nas, which is his debut album at 44. Tribe Called Quest, this is their second album. This is the one with Scenario, which is a song most people will know. A lot of David Bowie, a lot of Beatles on here, a lot of Michael Jackson. Here's Beatles. We'll see a lot more of them. Beyonce's Lemonade at 32, I think is really interesting that they put her up that high. Another Beatles. Wu-Tang Clan's debut album at 27, I think is interesting.
Should be higher.
Yeah,
should be way higher.
Yeah, but for Rolling Stone to put them that high, that I don't expect. More Beatles. Notorious Biggie at 22. That's something. Bruce Springsteen. There's a bunch of Bruce Springsteen on here. Kendrick Lamar at 19. I wouldn't expect from them. There's Kanye West. I just want to scroll down to like the top 10. There's this. We got Bob Dylan, number 9. Purple Rain at 8, which I think I would expect to see that high. Fleetwood Mac, Rumors at 7, which I think is new. I don't think it was on this list before because I saw a tweet from them where it doesn't seem like that it was up here. Nirvana's Nevermind at 6, I think definitely I expected it to be in the top 10. This is the one with like Smells Like Teen Spirit and most Nirvana songs people know. Abbey Road at 5. I got Stevie Wonder at 4. Joni Mitchell at 3. Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, which I'm not familiar with the name of this album.
Wow.
At 2. I'm not sure. I'm sure I know the songs in here. I'm not familiar with the album.
Not expecting to see Beach Boys number 2.
No. And then I was not expecting Marvin Gaye's What's Going On at number 1.
As the greatest album of all time.
Yeah. And I feel like this one's a bit of a like pandering type thing, because it begins with like Marvin Gaye's masterpiece began as a reaction to police brutality, which makes it seem like they only put this on here because of what's going on right now. But who knows? I don't know the songs on this. This might be all his best songs. And a lot of people are calling it a masterpiece, like in tweets and stuff. So who knows? I'm not one to say what was.
I want to know what was 500. What 500. Was their album that was just like it barely gets by?
500. Okay, let's see. And also worth mentioning, first came out in 2003. They just remade it. It's got 86 albums from the 21st century only. So that's how you know they're a little biased. Let's see if it'll load. Come on, we can get to it. Arcade Fire Funeral at 500. Yeah, just barely. It's barely one of the greatest albums. Yeah.
Interesting.
But let me see if I can close it. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting listen. It's generating a lot of complaining on Twitter.
Lists are good. Lists get people talking. I'm sure there's people arguing like, no, that shouldn't have been 479. It should have been 450. Like,
yeah,
for the list that long.
There's definitely some of that going on. Twitter's something else. If you want to look through it, like wild.
So, Mike, maybe are we gonna have to integrate Marvin Gaye onto the baseball like warm up? Is that what's gonna have to happen here? It's the greatest album of all time. It should be used more often, right?
I guess so. I've never claimed to be like a music connoisseur, so I can't really give too high opinion on those albums. But maybe we'll have to incorporate some of that. I was happy to see some of my favorite artists. Illmatic, one of my favorite albums, went double platinum when it first came out. So I was happy to see some of those. But overall, that's why you do have to love Bliss. I mean, this is gets people talking, gets more interactions on Twitter, so everyone's loving this right now, and I enjoy. I'm enjoying it.
All right. Well, we're just about ready for our first guest. I know, Mike, I know you had some things you wanted to get to. We'll circle back to you at the end of the show when we come back with the producers. I know our first guest is going to be probably excited to talk about this list if he caught any of ours talking about it. So bye to the producers, Mike DeFalco and Joey Morelli, and hello to Rob McGuinness. Hello. Rob, how are we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Did you catch any of that? Had you seen this top 500 list? What are your initial thoughts and impressions?
I had not seen the list until just now, so I hadn't realized that it was reissued. But I can't disagree with Beach Boys' Pet Sounds being up as high as it is. I love that album. I think it's an outstanding album. I don't get tired of that one. As far as Marvin Gaye, what's going on at number one? If you don't know Marvin Gaye's catalog, that's a great place to start. Two of his most recognizable singles are on that album, both What's Going On and Mercy, Mercy Me. It's hard to decide what is the greatest album of all time, but that's certainly a contender and a primer for anybody who's unfamiliar with him, because he did some great work, and those are some of his better songs, so definitely worth a listen. So I'm pleased to see some of my favorites in the screen that we shared just now. I saw Paul Simon, Graceland, as we were scrolling. I saw a couple of Rolling Stones albums, a couple of Beatles albums, so I'm familiar with the older stuff on the list. The newer stuff, less so. But
no Kendrick Lamar in your playlist?
I can't say that I'm familiar with Kendrick Lamar. I'm sorry.
What is in your running playlist? What's the stuff that gets you, that you like to listen to when you're working out? Is there any new stuff? Do you have, like, there's this song from high school that I always have to have? Like, I know I have songs that, like, no matter what, it's like 30 years old. I heard it when I was 5 and I want it. It's going to get me hyped up. What's on your running playlist?
What's on my running playlist? Well, it would have to be on a treadmill day. That's the only time you'll see me with earbuds on while I'm running. It's mostly classic rock, 60s, 70s, into the 80s. But I can listen to basically anything while I'm running and still hang in there. I think probably the strangest pre-race track that I've had in the list was probably Gordon Lightfoot, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, while I'm warming up for a race. Like, I don't know if that's the tone I wanted to set for the day, but I didn't run too badly, so maybe it was okay.
Yeah. Any Grand Funk Railroad in that list?
Absolutely. Let's see, American band, and they've got a cover of Some Kind of Wonderful, right? That's pretty good.
Yep.
And that's probably what would come to mind first. There may be others.
I'm Your Captain is one of my all-time favorite songs. That I listened to that on a right before going. I was driving to a football practice, and it was stuck because my dad would drop me off sometimes, and he had this old Jetta that only had a tape deck. And he only had like 2 cassettes. It was Greatest of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and it was the Greatest of Grand Funk Railroad. And I happened to be listening to the Grand Funk Railroad run, getting dropped off for training camp. And so we're there just doing 100 push-ups in a row because it's the first day. And I'm getting closer to just hoping like this practice is going to be over soon and I can go home. So that song always sticks with me.
Awesome.
The classic music's always good. Speaking of practice, you guys got to be the first team to practice, and you guys got to ceremonially, raise the flag in front of the Rogers Recreation Center. What was that like? How special was that to have that moment? That must have felt special. Like, we're raising the flag. This is it. We're going. We're starting.
It felt really good. The team was excited to get back to work. It has been 6 months since we last had a workout with any combination of the distance runners. And so to be the first team back in action and to ceremonially raise the flag, that's a good day. We were really looking forward to Monday's practice, and there you see a lot of masked faces, but they were smiling underneath. I can assure you of that. The team was eager to get back on Monday. We've had a couple of practices so far this week, and it is so good just to be training with other people again. That's what I can say. I like what we've got for a team this year. The women's team is as large as we've ever had here at Salve, and we're already starting to see what we look like in some of the preliminary workouts, and it's just so good to be back.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up was, how did practice go? How has it been getting out and practicing and having the team together?
It's great to be together. It's a little different this year. It's hard. I'll tell you, the hardest thing for me is the spacing while we're running. It's the trying to keep the correct amount per the protocol of distance between the person who is running next to you and the people in front of and behind you. That is not how we are programmed. It does take a concerted effort to keep that distance, and we're working on it. We're getting better at it. The first couple of workouts we're working in pods, as are the other teams for these first couple of weeks, which means we've had to split people up. We don't have the whole team in one location right now at the same time because we're not supposed to for health and safety reasons. So we took a couple of the pods to Fort Adams on Monday to run some hills. That's one of our favorite venues to do hill workouts. So I had 2 pods down there. We were keeping ourselves separate, of course, while working out, but half the team did the workout Monday. The other half will do some hills today. We may not get to the fort, but we'll find a hill here in the city, and we'll put some reps in. But that workout went really well. Sometimes hill workouts can be a grind, but everybody was in a great mood, and I think that just had a lot to do with the fact that the team was finally back together. It ended so abruptly back in March, and it wasn't intentional, but the last workout we did in March was actually a hill workout at Fort Adams, and I was with Kate Norton, Chrissy Moran, and Paige McDade that day. And then this past Monday, we were at Fort Adams again for hills on the same hill, and Kate pointed out that that was the last thing we had done before everything had ended in the spring. So it goes full circle, and now we're back with a much larger group, and that makes me happy.
Yeah. We've talked to a lot of the coaches about the preparation and the acclimating because of injury, because, you can't do this activity, that activity in a quarantine setting. Well, running, walking is something that pretty much you don't need equipment for, other than shoes, hopefully. And so you're able to get out and go and do those things. How do you gauge with your athletes, now that you have them back, ready to, we can just, hopefully you're in shape and we can kind of go full speed, or are you telling people, we want to go today. Let's go 65%. We're not trying to blow a hammy on day one here.
That's exactly how we're handling it. We're going to ease back into the workouts, especially during the pod weeks, because I don't have everybody in one place, and we're still trying to get a handle on the protocols so that we do things safely. But you're right. The effort is not at 100%. It wouldn't be at this point in the season anyway. And with the season and the practice sessions starting so much later this fall, I think it makes much more sense to ease into it, to see where we are, and then to challenge ourselves in a few weeks when we've had a chance to get used to everything that's different. But so far, I'm content with the level of effort and the fitness that I see. The summer training appears to have gone well, and that's a credit to my athletes and their motivation. So we'll see what happens this week and next, and when we stay healthy, we'll get into some of the more challenging work as a bigger group.
Yeah. Rob, something interesting you brought up before the show is that the London Marathon is happening for the elite, the elite onlys in a couple of weeks, and you said that they're running in a bubble. And when I first read that, it gave me this image of the like the guinea pig balls, or those people like at football games now, they have them get in the big rubber ball and they go and run at each other. Is it like it made me think of like you set up a track with walls and people just ping ponging off of each other down a track. I know that's not what's happening, but just the idea of having races in a bubble too. You don't think everybody, if you want to compete, has to do this bubble thing, which is pretty incredible.
It is incredible. In fact, I'd kind of like a bubble of my own here in Newport, so I'll have to talk to Jody about that and see if we can maybe lay one out. I'm kidding, of course. Let's talk about the bubble for London. I can actually share my screen, and I'll bring up the course map. Let's see. We'll do this. Can you see my screen?
Our producers in the back will have to effort that if Joey's there. I'm sure if you're sharing it, Joey can go ahead and pull it up for us.
Browser tab up. So what I've got on the screen is the course map for London, and it's just over 2 kilometers. You see that the route map points out they've got 19.6 laps of this course around St. James's Park in London. I've only been to London once, so I'm not entirely familiar with the streets, although I see we're basically in the backyard of Buckingham Palace, which is pretty cool. So the course is almost what you described. It's contained. As far as the bubble itself, the athletes are all being sequestered at a hotel where they've got about 40 acres of ground on which they can go and train once they're in. They have to be tested before they depart from their home countries, and then once they're in the bubble, the various biosecurity protocols are in place. But this is what the bubble looks like in London, which is unique for one of the major marathons in the world to adjust the course this way. Once they've run their 19.6 laps, I think they actually do something additional to get them to the traditional finish line at the mall. But that's what the bubble looks like for London, Andrew. This is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
Cool. Really cool. Oh, I think we found. There we go. We got it.
Well, there we go.
Really cool.
Yeah, so this is coming up on October 4th, I think. I think that's the Sunday. So we'll have to see how it goes and how the athletes fare.
Awesome. Well, Rob, great to see you. Great to have you on the show as always. Thank you for your input, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
All right, Andrew. I'll see you next week. Have a good show.
Thank you. That's Rob McGuinness, the head coach of our men's and women's cross country team. We're going to transition now to speaking with an alumnus of our field hockey team, Helen Price. Helen,
hi, everybody.
Welcome to the show. We'll try and keep it brief because you're coaching right now.
Yes, we're about to start practice.
So tell me a little about, you played for Coach Foster from 2009 to 2012. What do you remember most about your time at Salve Regina, and any teammates, things like that? What are your memories when you think about playing for Salve?
I have so many memories, starting with preseason. The first day freshman year was my 18th birthday. And so I was getting dropped off at college, which is nerve-wracking, plus trying out for a team. And some of my teammates, Natalie, Sophie, Lindsay, and Jill, they made a cake for me. So when they didn't know me, but when I showed up, I had a birthday cake. And that's just the type of family that the team became over the next 4 years. I'm still in contact with a lot of the girls. And Kelly Burke is one of my co-captains from senior year, and she's still my best friend to this day.
That's awesome.
Yep.
What was your career path after graduating? I know you're currently an adjunct nursing teacher here at Salve.
Yes.
I'm assuming nursing was obviously your area of study. What did you do immediately after school? What's been your path to lead you here?
So I studied nursing, undergrad, and I worked as an RN for a few years. While I was getting my master's degree, I went back to Salve. I was the first cohort to go through the FNP DNP program. So I graduated in 2017 with my master's. I became a family nurse practitioner and started working for Falmouth Hospital. I still live on the Cape where I grew up. And then I finished in 2019 my doctorate with Salve. So I am now teaching. I'm teaching pharmacology in the fall for the master's program and research in the spring. It's really awesome being an adjunct professor, and I'm just a Salve diehard at this point between nursing and field hockey, so I can't say enough good things about both programs.
I was going to say, a lot of people talk about the prestige of the Salve nursing program. What makes it so special?
It really is. It's so special. It's so unique because you get to know the professors. You're not a number. They really do care about you. They want you to succeed. And just the clinical placements, there's really unique opportunities where we had clinical and just, that really personal connection with the professors. It's just, you can't compare it to any other program. It's really awesome.
Yeah. Now, when did you start coaching? Did you have that bug as soon as you graduated? It was like, I'm done. I gotta keep field hockey going. When did you start coaching?
Yeah. As soon as I came back home, I started coaching. I'm really lucky that being a nurse, it's kind of a hard schedule to be able to coach, but the head coach who I work with, she's been really good and flexible with allowing me to coach. So 2014, I started, and I'm still here. So I love it.
You ever get called from Coach Foster, or are you got a bug in her ear about helping out with the Salve field hockey program?
I'd love to. Hopefully, maybe someday down the road. I don't live in Rhode Island. Otherwise, I definitely would be helping her. But it is really unique because I always recommend high school students. We talk about, some of my players. I try to send them to her and really promote Salve. So her and I are in close contact, and that's really a unique relationship too. That's special.
Yeah. As somebody can speak directly to being a Salve athlete, you're a current coach, high school coach, dealing with all this COVID-19 stuff.
Yes.
What message would you have to any Salve field hockey players that are maybe watching right now about what they could do and any sort of motivation to get through this thing?
I know it's really hard times. It's really challenging. I saw that you guys had your first practice yesterday, and that's really promising. So do your best to stay safe, get your sleep, wash your hands, be healthy, but also just enjoy every single moment, no matter what the situation is. I know it's really unique, but even if it's just practicing, if that's all you can have for your season, just really enjoy it, because those memories, they're really the best years.
All right. Awesome. Not going to keep you any longer. I want to let you get to work. Helen,
Yes.
Thank you for joining the program, and
Thank
hope to
you.
maybe see you at a game this spring.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right. That is Helen Price, current faculty member at South Virginia, current head coach for high school field hockey, and a forever fan of the South Virginia field hockey program. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the captains of our women's soccer team. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I am Andrew Pizzella, your host here today. Well, we were supposed to have 3, then we were supposed to have 2, and for now, we're going to have to stick with 1. We will have Devyn DeFalco joining the program. Devyn, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Senior?
I know.
Senior? Oh, I think we got Molly. So if we can pull in Molly too, I can
Sorry,
Molly,
I was having some
technical difficulties. It's okay. We have those all the time here on the Seahawk Talk program. I just asked Devyn. I'll ask you too. Senior, how fast did that go by?
I know, right?
It was crazy.
What does it mean to you guys to be seniors? Obviously, for everybody, it's usually something special. It's something new, ready for that last year, especially given the situation this year. Does it mean something extra special towards that motivation to do all the right things and prepare and everything for hopefully having a spring season that could be one of the more memorable and historic in school history, given the situation?
I think for me, like, it's really important to still like give it everything and almost leave our mark on this team, because obviously this is not traditional, and so being able to push through that and get a good outcome if we do have a spring season, if not, get really good progress for ourselves and the rest of the team and set them up for success in the future, whether that is the spring or next fall. Just leaving a good mark on this team would be really like special to me.
Yeah,
I agree. And I think it's I think we have a like important role of just bringing some like normalcy to the team. And I definitely think that now is the time to like focus on the little things and perfect like what we can in the situation, so that by the time we have an actual season, we'll be ready to go.
Yep. Now, both of you, along with Molly Leary, who couldn't make it here today for the show, were named captains. What does that mean to you guys to be captains?
You can go, Mom.
Okay. It's a real privilege, honestly. Yeah, it's super exciting. I think that it's definitely like unconventional like this season, since we don't really have any games to lead, but I think we can definitely make our mark by just bringing a positive attitude and setting the tone for each practice.
Mm-hmm.
I like this means really, it really means a lot to me to have been named captain. I really have seen a lot of great leaders in the past at Salve and teams before that, and I've always looked up to the captains and aspired to be like them, because I like to help. I love to help people, and I think it's a privilege for me and both Molly's to be able to lead this team together, and I just really am excited to grow this team as a whole and make it like a family.
Yeah. Now, I saw on Instagram last night you guys had your first practice. It looked sick. It was with a sunset in the background. How did it feel to get out there on the field, be with the team, and have that little bit of sense of normalcy with, hey, we're preparing. This is kind of normal.
It was so nice to finally be back on the field since March, and I think we accomplished a lot with all the restrictions, and I think we're gonna have a good season.
Yep.
But yeah,
I agree. I thought it was really great to get back out there. At first, it was like, oh boy, like first couple one-touch passes, you're like, oh. But I think it was really exciting to get everyone out there. It was the first time we got to play with all of our new recruits. It was exciting to see them out there, some conditioning, which we all needed. And I also love the feeling at night when you get home from practice after you shower and you're just so tired and you sleep so well. And anyone that has an Apple Watch will understand, but like after you finish a practice and you look down at your watch and it's like 1,200 calories burnt, like 114 minutes exercise, you're like, yeah. I said to my mom and she was like, I don't have an Apple Watch. I don't know what that means. I was like, it's good.
You guys talked about the restrictions that are in place. What are you guys restricted to with what you can do in practice? And I'm sure it has to be a little frustrating that like, oh, I want to go. I want to do this. But what are the things that you're allowed to do right now? What are those things in place?
So we're in pods, and each pod has, I think, max like 8 people, is it?
8 or 9.
8 or 9, yeah. So you stay within your pod, and we section the field off into thirds, and everyone stays within their third. And we just kind of switch between like technical work, agility, conditioning, just some like social distancing, passing, and touches on the ball.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys can have a spring season. A lot of that will have to do with the work that you do now in the fall and that preparation, and those restrictions are in place to hopefully make that season happen. How do you guys build, athletes and competitors? We all like routine. We want to build good habits. How do you accept that those restrictions, making those part of the routine and not necessarily a roadblock? Like, look at the mask thing. I'm sure all of us, at the beginning is like, oh God, a mask. But hopefully now we're all just like, oh, the mask. Like, I can't leave home without my mask. It becomes more that routine. How important is it as say seniors to instill that mentality in everybody else that we have to start building these good habits now and these routines, and then we can get to play in the spring?
I think it's really important to just kind of explain to everyone that like these are the new norms. Like, who knows how long we're going to have to be dealing with these things. Obviously, we don't want to have to do it in the spring, so we can eventually play some games. But for right now, like this is the normal, and we could have nothing, and we could not be touched. Like there very easily could have been a chance that we didn't touch a soccer ball until March. So the fact that we get this 6-8 weeks or whatever it is to practice and play and be as a team and work on our skills, we just kind of have to mentally keep reminding ourselves this is the new norm. And also what we keep telling people is when we're conditioning and we have a mask on, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. It's like, well, just think, you're going to get conditioned and you're going to be fit with a mask on. So you're going to go for a run without one in a couple months and you're going to be like, this is a breeze.
Yep. It's part of that, the competitive spirit should come out. Everybody's expecting athletics to fail and not to happen. So the competitive juices should get up. Like, you know what? No, we are going to do this. We are going to get through this and prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies, congratulations on being named captains. Looking forward to you guys hopefully getting onto campus and seeing you guys out of practice. I was jealous of that sunset. That looked awesome. Thanks for joining us here on the program today, and good luck with the fall season.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care now. That is Molly Breslin and Devyn DeFalco. We're going to round out today's show with Craig O'Rourke II, the head coach of our men's soccer team. And no, Craig, again, he's not ready. Oh, man, we're going to have to call him out. You know what? Maybe we do this live. Maybe I dial him on my phone live. We're going to do this live on air. We're going to call Craig, and we're going to hope. Oh, and he put right to voicemail. So you know what? We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to contact Craig. And this is strike two. This is strike two for him not being ready for us. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Craig O'Rourke II. All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. Andrew Pizzelli here, hosting the show, and we're going to turn now to Craig O'Rourke II. Craig, I am going to give you 2 minutes, one for each of Arsenal's wins, for you to discuss Arsenal. The clock starts now. Your 2 minutes. Go.
Discuss Arsenal. 2-0 to start the season. Convincing wins over Fulham and West Ham in a pair of London derbies. They, because of the tiebreaker of goal differential, I think they're third in the table right now, behind Leicester. And who went top of the table? It's not City. It's not United. It's not Chelsea. It's not Liverpool. See, now it's going to bother me if I don't know who's top of the table. Yeah, they've looked good. They've kind of hit their stride early in the season. Oh, Leicester's top of the table. Leicester's won, Everton 2, Arsenal 3. Leicester with a goal differential of +5. Everton and Arsenal level at +4. Everton gets a nod, having scored 6, whereas Arsenal has scored 5. And then league champions Liverpool sit in 4th. The test is today. We play Leicester, the early league leaders, in a non-league match. We're playing in the Carabao Cup, the League Cup. So it's going to have to be squad rotation, I think, for both teams, having come out of a league game on the weekend, going into league competition on the coming weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal responds and the team we put out, because it's going to have youngsters and some of the B squad in it, simply because we can't fatigue the legs playing too many matches in too short a period of time.
Perfect. Under 2 minutes.
Nice.
We talk about as coaches and athletes, we want to build habits, good habits. We want to build routines. How do you do that training and that preparation in an era of COVID-19?
Well, I think right now for us, we want to, just really try to get back into our normal routine. The interruption of preseason and not having started in August really didn't allow us to have the dedicated time where we do build up a great deal of routine, particularly for the freshmen who are coming in, having never done things the way we do it in a college environment before. So we're trying to maintain a certain amount of normalcy for our guys, and get back into a training regimen where we are going to go on a somewhat regular basis. Right now, during the 6-week window, we're only allowed 4 days a week, and I think what we need to do is try to keep everyone together and keep the light at the end of the tunnel shining, in the hopes that we can at some point regain a greater degree of normalcy. For us right now, we're trying to build a sense of team unity and an identity as we get into our normal training regimen and get going. That's pretty much the toughest thing that we have to overcome right now, simply because it's a time of irregularity where there is no normalcy.
Yeah. Will coaching through, playing through, training through this adversity help in the long run, either because you'll have an appreciation and perspective on, what things you had to go through when things become normal again, or will you have learned maybe new, better ways to train, or could it be a combination of both?
Hopefully a combination of both, I would say. I anytime you lose something that you truly value and enjoy, I think you develop a greater degree of appreciation when it comes back to you. And I'm hoping that will be the case for not only myself, but everybody involved in our program, that when we are allowed to progress in our training and re-socialize a social activity like sport, that we'll have that much greater degree of appreciation for the sport and the ability to play it. Athletes, especially at our level, the collegiate level, I'm fond of saying, are all in essence volunteers, as they're not being compensated in any way for what they're doing. And I think once we do get back out on the field and are allowed to progress up to what we call the 11v11 model, the full scope of our sport, that we will have a greater degree of appreciation. And hopefully, as you said, maybe picked up a few things along the way in having to train in this environment that we can then apply moving forward in an era where we are hopefully one day COVID free.
Yeah. you coach, you've been on all sides, associated with the Commonwealth Coast Conference. That's what Salve competes in. How have you seen the conference change over the years?
Oh God, I took up this position as the head men's soccer coach at Salve Regina in 2007, and at that point, the membership expanded from 12 men's soccer programs to 13th with the addition of Western New England. At the time, Western New England College. They've since renamed Western New England University. And we refer to 2007 on as somewhat of the modern era of the Commonwealth Coast Conference. Shortly thereafter, it expanded again up to its full and largest membership count of 14 when Regis College went co-ed and added men's sports. Then a few years after that, it contracted with 4 schools leaving. Regis, New England College, Anna Maria, and Colby Sawyer left the Commonwealth Coast Conference, and we went to our working number of 10. And then just two years ago, we contracted down to 9 when Eastern Nazarene College left, and now we're back up to 10 with the addition of Suffolk University in this year. And I got to say, it's tough for Suffolk. They joined the Commonwealth Coast Conference for the year, and in a semester where there is no athletic competition. It's interesting because I think the conference overall, by expanding, then contracting, expanding again, has gotten stronger in terms of its membership, both in the degree of caliber of institution academically and athletically, as well as variety of facilities that those institutions then offer. I think the CCC and its member institutions have steadily made their athletic departments and their coaching staffs more and more full-time. And through the reduction of part-time coaches and the addition of full-time coaches, I think you'll have a great degree of continuity for the student athletes. And as such, you'll be able to recruit a better degree of student athlete and make the program stronger. So just in my time, I've seen the CCC take major steps forward across the board in all sports, not just men's soccer, and become a larger, more prolific player on both the regional and national levels.
Now, Craig, I know you filled out our little pre-show questionnaire. I don't know if this was supposed to be sarcasm. You said people would be surprised to know that I am very laid back and a quiet individual. Well, I want to object to that statement. We'd only need to roll back last week's show to disprove that. Or is it just that you're quiet until provoked, like a bear or some sort of other wild animal?
I think the people who know me best would say that I am actually a very, very borderline extremely quiet person. One might even say, to a degree, introverted in some degree. I'm really, very laid back, very mellow, calm, serene,
mercurial.
Yeah, these are all words that, for those closest to me, they when you pose the question, describe Craig, I would say each of those words are probably the first ones to jump to their mind.
Quiet, calm,
composed. I actually am calm and composed. All kidding aside, but quiet when I'm sleeping. I've been known to be very quiet when I'm sleeping or unconscious.
We'll add that to your coach's bio, quiet sleeper?
Quiet sleeper, yeah. Quiet sleeper, redundant talker. On match day, I definitely assume a different moniker and mentality. And I've never been asked in my lifetime to ever speak up. And I'm quite fond of that. People usually do not have a problem hearing me.
I have that. It's called the Italian whisper. People ask me, why am I yelling? I'm like, I'm not yelling. This is yelling.
Yeah.
I have a couple more decibels I could reach. I'm assuming that you've probably encountered the same thing.
Yeah, I say, I'm not yelling at you. When I'm yelling at you, you will know I am yelling at you.
The hair
on
your face would be peeling back.
Exactly.
My hair would be blowing in the wind.
I always look at it that way as well. So yeah, I can definitely feel that.
Last question, Craig. Did you do your homework for the show? I assigned you some homework last week.
Oh boy, what was it?
You were supposed to watch the trailer for Mandalorian season 2.
I did not. Oh, crud, I did not. It's one of those things where I want to do it right then and there, and then
You're
10
setting a
things
poor
pop up.
example, Craig. You're setting
I
a
am.
poor example.
I'm setting a poor example. And the worst part about it is something that I want to watch and something I want to know about. I have not watched the trailer. At least I don't think I have.
Well, I'm going to be very generous since this is your first true strike. I'll give you the chance to make it up. So watch the trailer and we can talk about it next Friday.
Yeah,
or next
definitely.
Wednesday, rather.
Next Wednesday. Yeah, I will. Let's do that. Enough of this soccer talk. The heck with Arsenal. God knows there's always another.
If you tuned in yesterday, we were talking about Gundam Wing because Japan built a fully functioning Gundam robot that is now, that's walking and moving. So yeah, we're not afraid to. We'll go anywhere here on the Seahawk Talk program. So we can certainly talk Mandalorian season 2 next week.
Awesome. We definitely will. Thanks, Andrew.
All right, that's Craig O'Rourke II, quiet, mercurial, and calm here on the Seahawk Talk program. We're going to take a really quick break and be back with the producers to round out today's program. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. Andrew Pizzelli here, joined now by the producers who've been working tirelessly behind the scenes, Mike DeFusco and Joey Morelli. Fellas, I'm going to let Mike go first. We didn't get to what he had to say at the beginning of the program. So, Mike, take it away with what you wanted to lead the show with.
All right, I'll try to be as calm and mercurial as possible before we go on. Still can't believe that. But anyway, so Tyrod Taylor, I think I actually announced on the show back in the summer when we first started that he was going to be week 1 starter, and he didn't, and there was kind of a surprise. The reason behind that is a team doctor accidentally punctured his lung while giving him a painkiller shot, trying to get him ready to go for that game. So not sure how that happens. The NFLPA is going to do an investigation into that to see just what went wrong. The craziest part about it, I think, was that thing you were saying with the article where it was the doctor didn't know where to put the shot or something along those lines. Like it's a risky procedure for that reason, but seems like a little bit seems a little suspicious to me.
Yeah, I want to see if I can find where he said that. The story slightly changed because it got updated again. But yeah, the team, they said, here it is. The injection that Taylor received is not entirely uncommon, but it carries a risk because a doctor injects without seeing where the needle is going. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I mean, a doctor should kind of have an idea of anatomy and where. Was this the the adrenaline needle from Pulp Fiction? They were just going to put it right here and like, you're good to go.
Are they going through the side? Like at the heart, I don't know where it's supposed to go, but I feel like, you have a pretty rough estimate of where everything is.
Exactly. So
like, if it's supposed to go in the heart's like here. Like the doctor should know where your heart is.
Yeah, that team doctor might he might be on waivers this week.
That team doctor is no longer the team doctor.
Yeah, well, they actually said that their legal team has been in touch. Like the NFLPA's medical and legal team wants to talk with Tyrod Taylor because no surprise, like that should not happen.
I'll ask my bio teacher about it right now. It seems like it might be up her alley. How a painkiller gets punctures somebody's lung.
Crazy. And the thing is, Coach Lynn said, no guy should lose his starting job because of injury. But Herbert came in and like played so well. Like that's your rookie draft pick. It's going to be hard. Yeah. It would take a lot of guts, as the head coach to say, you know what, Tyrod's healthy. We said he's a starter. I know we wanted Justin to basically get a year to learn. He played great, but back to the bench. that's going to be kind of tough to do, especially with how well he played. They almost beat the Chiefs. So
yeah, you're actually going to see him start week 1, or week 3 next week. So
yeah,
he's still going to be out there.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Joey, any thoughts from the rest of the show?
I'd say what we're gonna learn is actually that painkiller was for his hamstring. So it's gonna be real weird when we find out how it got to his lungs. But no, just something funny. I had to look it up because I was pretty sure. I don't know if maybe you're poking fun at Coach O'Rourke for not knowing what mercurial means, but it does mean like volatile. Like it does not mean calm and collected like I think you guys were using it. I'm like, I don't know if that's a
mercurial,
joke.
I mean, the way I've always understood, I've never actually looked up mercurial in the dictionary. I have a dictionary back here. Maybe we could read that could be part of tomorrow's intro. We'll read some words.
Guess read the dictionary.
That would be true ASMR radio, is if I just read the dictionary. But I think of it in the terms of sense as kind of like, mercurial is kind of unknown, hard to know, or, there's like this element of mystery to them. You can't, you think you know them, but you don't know everything. They're mercurial. They have quirks about them that can come out from time to time. So that's how what does Merriam-Webster here actually say about mercurial?
I looked it up. It says subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind. So because like Mercury, like the Greek god or the Roman god, I guess. Hermes is Greek.
Well, hey, you learn something new every day here on the Seahawk Talk program. Guys, great work as always. Your work behind the scenes is tremendously appreciated, and look forward to having you guys back and working again tomorrow.
Sounds good. See you then.
All right. That's Mike DeFusco and Joey Morelli, our producers. That'll do it for today's program. Big thanks once again to Rob McGuinness, Helen Price, Molly Breslin, Devyn DeFalco, and Craig O'Rourke II. We are live every day from 3 to 4 p.m. on the Salve Athletics Network. That's on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Periscope through Twitter. And if you can't catch the show live, you can go back and watch the archive versions of the show or subscribe to the audio-only version of the show, which is a podcast. Just search for, I almost said my own show, search for Seahawk Talk on your favorite podcasting platform, and you can go ahead and never miss an episode. So that'll do it for today's show. Take it easy, everybody, and we'll see you again tomorrow.